Okay, this is Barbara Elistad with Mesquite Citizen Journal, and we're here today with Assemblyman Crescent Hardy, who is fresh off of the legislative session that ended last week. And we did give you a few days to rest up and clear some of the fog out of your brain before we sat down and talked to you. So,
and I am grateful for that.
Yeah. Okay, so last night at the council session, so this is going to absolutely clarify what day we're doing this interview. Okay. Warren Hardy gave us quite a rundown on a lot of the legislative bills that pertain directly to Mesquite. And I'm going to pair that video with this one. And I'm going to ask you some of the about some of the legislation, but let's start with your overall impression of this legislative session compared to your freshman session that you had 2 years ago.
My personal opinion on this session, it was a far less partisan session than the last one, immensely. The Speaker of the House was very collegial with everybody. She worked with people.
And that was Assemblyman Kirkpatrick?
Yes, Assemblywoman Kirkpatrick. She actually helped people with their bills to get them through. She's just a workaholic. I'm so impressed with how she does things. We don't agree on all things, but she takes those things that we can't agree on and just moves on. And she's a policy wonk, which anybody in the state should appreciate that. She's not about politics. She believes that good policy makes good state economics and everything else. So it was very impressive to work with her and have that opportunity, which at last session I had the opportunity to get very close to her and worked very well with her this time, so it was real positive.
Now you were the second in charge of, if you will, the Republican side of the Assembly.
I was Assistant Minority Leader on the floor. So, yes.
Okay. Just for us who aren't familiar with it, what did that entail in this session?
What it entails is actually working with leadership from both sides of the House, both parties. You try to accomplish those things and work on those issues that you can't seem to come to general consensus, and try to work issues that you can together in discussions. You actually work with the governor on some of these issues to see where things can meet in the middle, if there is, or if there's any chance. So there's a lot of discussion. So it's like a session after the session is over during the day. There's things continually going on. It may cause some concerns, but it's basically a discussion piece that has to happen. Sometimes people feel like there's a non-transparency, but it happens. You have to discuss issues to be able to accomplish where you're going, because on the floor it can sometimes turn into quite the little battle. Anybody that's watched it, it's something that was very interesting to learn for me in my first session.
There's been a lot of criticism that this was the do-nothing legislative session because you didn't pass a lot of bills. I personally thank you for not passing a lot of new laws. But that's just me.
Isn't that a great thing? Isn't that a great thing?
How do you answer the criticism, if you will? Personally, and I'll say it to the world, personally I think it's a great idea.
Anytime we can come out of there, put more into education, close to $500 million more into education.
Yes.
Increase our economic development side with the governor's economic development committees. Help out the Health and Human Services, DHHS side of this thing, and not raise taxes. That's a great thing. It's proof that our economy is moving in the right direction, but there's still some concerns out there about what we do. There's a number of issues that certain individuals on both sides of the House are never going to agree on. There was a lot of policies that were adopted that is a person of where I stand with my religious beliefs that I have concerns with, and I have the values of the family and the values of narcotics being sold in dispensaries, those kind of things that I really have genuine concern with. But other people,
and that would be the gay marriage,
SJR 13, the gay marriage,
and the medical marijuana.
Medical marijuana.
Okay.
Are two big issues that it's people are protected in civil marriages. You know, I don't know why we have to go further with this situation. I wish they'd had to go through the same process that it took to get it into the Constitution in the first place. Some would argue that the Marriage Act shouldn't have been in the Constitution. I'm a firm believer that that's one of my Christian beliefs, is that marriage is between man and a woman. So.
Okay. There is also some criticism that while you say taxes weren't raised, in effect taxes were continued, and that those taxes were due to sunset June 30th, and now they're going to continue it for at least for 2 more years, if I understand correctly.
Actually, what it did is the governor took it from those salaries that are at $62,500, increased them back to $85,000 for those salaries, to where those were exempted from the MBT, and then those higher salaries were the ones that'll pay for these sunsetted taxes that are continuing.
What's MBT?
The business tax, the marginal business tax.
Marginal business tax. Okay. Okay. All right, let's talk about some of the bills and legislative action that you personally had sponsored in this legislative session. First of all, I think if I read the paper correct, in the Las Vegas paper, that you sponsored a bill for a distillery action in Henderson, and that passed?
It passed.
Okay.
That was AB 153.
We'll start out with a success story for you.
Well, AB 153 is licensure for distilleries. I did not know that until I met the gentleman. He had a distillery he had built up and everything, and he wasn't licensed to sell his product. He couldn't distribute it.
Okay.
He's Hungarian. It's quite the interesting little place he has there. It's a craft distillery, and what it had to do is he comes in, lets people make their blends, and helps them with his engineer or scientist to make different types of blends. Like I can't remember, Zappos is one that come in and had a product made. I understand the governor's even had a product made for the 150th anniversary that has been put in place. He's trying to develop a museum, so it's not just a big alcohol producing place, but it creates jobs. So to me, it was an important jobs bill, and we're already seeing at the last testimony when it passed through the Senate. The Minden folks are actually turning they have a couple of big granaries there, a mill. They're going to turn that into a craft distillery. They were all excited about it.
In Minden?
In Minden, Nevada.
Okay.
There's a number of other places up north that haven't been able to sell their product because they do wines and brandies, but they can't.
So to answer the criticism, it wasn't just for one person?
No, it was not.
Okay.
It's a growing industry across the nation. I think in 2000.
Yeah, if you've ever been to Grand Junction, Colorado.
Yeah, in 2000 there was none in the United States, and I believe there's like 150 now. They think they'll expand in the next 5 to 10 years to 1,000 nationwide. So it's a growing industry. Nevada is not known because of its arid climate that it would be a distillery type place, but it works quite well. And what's interesting about the museum that the gentleman's putting together, I never thought of it that way, but here in Nevada in the 1930s, during the Prohibition era, we had gaming and we had prostitution, but alcohol was illegal, so it was one of the top, I guess, places where they were smuggling booze back and forth. So.
Okay.